I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the Peddling Fiction Podcast. I am your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita. And back with me getting the week started right, hopefully without internet issues, at least for the next hour or so, is Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell. What's going on over there in Hillbilly Land? They haven't figured out these interwebs?
Man, every time it rains, something fucks up with my internet. And it's because we live so far out in the middle of nowhere, and all the lines that run out here are just either they're so old that they've just gotten in disrepair, or they've been eaten by raccoons and squirrels and other varmints, or because they are copper lines, there's always the chance that you got meth heads that are just like climbing poles and stripping the lines down. So anyway, but every time it rains, stuff starts acting funky. But I'm running off of my mobile hotspot for the next hour or however long we do this, so that I don't have any interruptions while I wait for the internet repair people to. Man, I've been lighting these motherfuckers up just nonstop on Twitter and Facebook and emailing them and everything else. Like, they're gonna actually fucking fix this at some point.
It's one of the cool things about Twitter is like you can actually just like fucking start shaming a company in public. It's pretty. I don't know how much.
And they will respond.
Yeah.
They will respond quickly. Anytime I've like tagged a company that I was having some sort of problems with for some reason, just tag and that's anytime somebody's complaining, oh, the customer service from such and such is so terrible. I'm like, go on Twitter, complain, and then tag their account, and somebody from customer service will get to you and they will fix it for you immediately. Because if it starts going around on Twitter, they know that's bad. That's bad publicity.
It could go viral. Yeah,
right. They'll snuff that out quick.
Yeah, it's not like a Yelp review or something where you actually have to go on Yelp and look up, oh, how's this company doing? This could just, if a lot of people are having it, they pile on real quick, and then all of a sudden, their stock price takes a fucking dip.
The benefits of social media. People act like it's all terrible, but it's not. If you know how to use it correctly, it can be a very beneficial thing.
Yeah, and that's who you should be like trying to shame on Twitter and perhaps cancel, as a company that sucks at what they're doing. Not not some poor idiot that works at the company that said something you didn't like, you know what I mean? So all the leftists that have been losing the cancel culture battle since Elon Musk bought Twitter have moved over to Blue Sky. Did you see? I didn't send you anything on that, but it was pretty funny. I guess they had a record-breaking amount of censorship claims on the site, like people wanting things to be censored. It jumped up. Oh shit, where was I reading that? It might have been on Twitter. It might have been on Zero Hedge. It was like, 42,000 or something in the last couple of weeks. And like on average, I think for like an entire year, they might have like 300,000 claims or something like that. And they got like 40,000 since all of these pussies moved over there.
Well, and did you see the really fun statistic in that was the number of those that are child pornography related. So that's like all the, and it happened to Mastodon too. As soon as all the leftists abandon Twitter and go to another platform, all of a sudden it gets overrun with child porn. It's like, man, yeah, that's kind of a theme. There's a theme here. Like the leftists leave a platform and the new platform they go to is now a haven for child porn all of a sudden.
Yeah, you called that on the last episode. I don't know if there's been any developments since then.
Oh, no, it's legit. Like of the 42,000 reports that they had in over that week, like I think over half of them were.
Oh, is that what this? I didn't know what that stood for. They had a CSAM or something.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, what kind of a complaint is that? But yeah, it was a huge portion of it. So that's like child sexual something or other.
Yeah, it's child porn, basically.
Oh, that's fucking great. What? Yeah, Twitter's such a cesspool. Oh, we got to get off of there and get onto this site. And immediately just child porn takes hold. Here it is. Yeah, leftist leave. So it was on Zero Hedge. Yeah, let me get the number for you. I'll get the exact numbers here because we like to be. So, yeah, Blue Sky gave notice recently. In 24 hours, the site was inundated with 42,000 reports and censorship requests, and have expanded to over 3,000 flags per hour. To put that in context, all of 2023 received 360,000 reports. So in 24 hours, they got 42,000. A large queue. We're triaging a large queue so that we can deal with the most harmful content, which is CSAM. So that's the child porn thing. Do we know what that stands for?
Yes, I've seen it before, and I don't remember exactly, and I really don't want to look it up. But
you don't want that.
Because remember, I did the 4-part thing on the Georgia sex, like gay sex ring with the boys that got adopted by the gay couple and all of the like crazy shit that went into that. And like that stuff is so prevalently out there and just doesn't get talked about. Like that 4-part series that Town Hall did covering all of that stuff, that how that couple got the kid, all of the stuff with their like trips and vacations and this like Neverland Ranch type of a house that they built and all kinds of other insane shit. And then their trial and the way they were turning on each other and like, it was nuts. And I need to follow up on that because there has been some sentencing that has happened over the course of the last 3 or 4 months. And it was tough to go through all 4 parts of that series. I can't imagine the chick that like did the investigative journalism to actually write that whole fucking thing. It was tough to get through, and I kind of didn't want to look anymore at it after doing that.
Yeah, it's understandable. I dove into the comments of this of a Twitter post. CSAM is child sex abuse material. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, goddamn, dude. And speaking of the prevalence of that compared to white supremacy and racism, I don't know, is it 50,000 to 1? It's ridiculous the amount of hemming and hawing they have over white supremacists and Nazis and Nazi rallies and things like that versus what's going on with sexually abused children gets no media attention whatsoever. There's no press, like there's no momentum. Wood chip for fuel. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like they don't seem to care about, I guess because they're all fucking involved in it.
Well, and they don't care about it at all because they are all involved in it, or they are connected. The people who they are connected to are involved in it, and so they can't call it out because that would jeopardize the gravy train. And like that was one of the big things when Elon first bought Twitter. He was like, "All right, we're going to crack down on the child porn stuff, and we're going to clean that up." And nobody talked about how prevalent it was before he took over and the steps that he took to clean that up on Twitter. all they wanted to talk about was how he was like killing advertising and stuff. And it's like, how about like looking at the stuff he's actually doing to take care of some of the legitimate issues that are going on here? And they never talked about that stuff. And then how crazy is it that like I said before, he makes it a mandate that he's going to clean that up, and then all of the leftists leave to go to Mastodon, and now Mastodon has a huge, like, they end up, I don't think Mastodon even is still functional. Like, they crashed that thing out with so much child porn, and just like then people stopped using it because then people were actually reporting on like, hey, look at the amount of child porn that showed up on Mastodon now that all the leftists decided to leave Twitter and go over there. Like, coincidence? Maybe not.
Yeah, and it's so much more prevalent, and it's so much more like despicable and disgusting, and like a much bigger problem for society than a couple of fucking retards marching around saying the Jews will not replace us or something like that. Like, that's still talked about to this day by the commander in chief when he has some of his more waking moments, I suppose. I guess 2017 does seem like yesterday when you're completely fucking senile. But yeah, the fact that there's just no momentum behind that kind of movement, and I don't even understand what are they doing with the child? Like, why would you post that? I don't understand.
And I don't know if it's all posting it or like,
or are they like looking for it? Or are they like trying to? I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter. But it's not like they have like an OnlyFans page, right? That they're trying to advertise. Well, okay, maybe they do. I don't know.
Easy. We're gonna start falling into some like QAnon rabbit holes that we can't come back out of.
I'm happy to report I know nothing about any of this.
Yeah, I know more about it than I would care to, just based off of, like I said, covering that town hall series on the stuff in Georgia. And man, the more you find out about it, the more you want to run screaming from it. Like, it's the shit's terrifying. It's a level of fucked up that like average people can't comprehend. Like, when you start reading about that stuff, it's like, what the
right. And I mean, just like, even like in prison, the child molesters are like the most despicable people. It's like, oh yeah, that guy killed 15 people, but if he finds out that you were, diddling some little kid, like, he's gonna fuck you up first. And I think just about, it depends, I guess, on how he killed these people and why, but like, the vast majority of people would support that guy over the child molester. So yeah. Anyway, but I guess, speaking of our commander in chief, why don't we dive into this? It should be impossible for something like this to happen, but Joe Biden has authorized Sleepy Joe Biden, who we haven't heard from like, he's just been laying on beaches and hiding away in fucking cabins, having like one phone call a week. He's in the lame duck session now. And he's authorizing Ukraine to use U.S. missiles. And yeah, go ahead and well, I don't know. What's ATACMS?
ATACMS.
Air to air. Or something. Yeah, dude, people, they need to start fucking spelling out these There's way too many acronyms for me to keep track of. Like, how hard is it to just spell that out for me at the beginning? It's some sort of missile that they have not been authorized to use in Russia. And Joe Biden lets them, authorizes them to use it. Putin has said, he's threatened multiple times that, like, if you start doing this, like, I'm going to have to, like, seriously consider using nuclear weapons.
So about a day after President Biden authorized Ukraine to use the long-range U.S.-made MGM-140 Army tactical missile system to strike deeper into Russian territory, a new report suggests that the Ukrainian armed forces have hit a military installation in the western Bryansk region. This comes after Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia's nuclear weapons doctrine has changed and signed by President Vladimir Putin, indicating the use of Western non-nuclear rockets by the armed forces of Ukraine against Russia can prompt a nuclear response. For the first time, Ukraine's defense forces struck Russian territory with ATACMS ballistic missiles. So, yeah, like, hey, we've only got a month and a half left. Let's go ahead and kick off World War III. And somebody was saying this effectively means this is the U.S. firing missiles into Russia because Ukraine doesn't have the military intelligence. They don't have the trained personnel to actually operate this shit. So it's people working for the U.S. government or for the U.S. military in Russia that are in Ukraine that are doing this. It's not like the Ukrainian army got a crash course on how to fire these things and now they're doing it themselves. Like they picked the target and then the US soldiers who know how to operate this shit are the ones who are doing the firing. Is the way it's been explained to me. If somebody can clarify that.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's sort of how we've been operating with all of these wars overseas. Like we have to provide the people who know how to use these weapons that we're giving them. So they call them ATACMS, I guess, Army Tactical Missile System. So so I guess, yeah, each letter does not represent a word in there. So that's why we couldn't figure out what the fuck that means. But yeah, I mean, this would, if the shoe's on the other foot and you're like, we're being attacked by Mexico or something, and Mexico doesn't have any fucking missiles. I mean, it's Mexico. Do they even have airplanes? I don't know. I know they don't have like a space program. It's Mexico, but like, so Russia just gives them the missiles and shows them how to, and provides people like tech support to use them. Yeah, I would consider that like it's worse than like what we were accused of doing that got us into like, World War I, providing fucking weapons and shit. This is insane that he can fucking do this. And what is the upside to this? From like, let's say even from Ukraine's perspective, like you're not going to win this war. That's impossible. So you're just going to escalate it for the purpose of what? For what? And yeah, I guess like if you're a psycho, you could, potentially you could start World War III. You could entice Putin to start using nuclear weapons, and then God knows what happens. I guess, we'll be able to eradicate racism and white supremacy once and for all, along with the rest of humanity. So there's that. But it's just like there's no upside to this from the American people's perspective. What's the upside here? Okay, now you've pissed Putin off a little more, probably a lot more. You gained absolutely nothing really from like a tactical perspective. It's an unwinnable war. I don't even think this really gives you any negotiating leverage or something. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll stop firing these missiles. It's infuriating. The fact that this can happen and that nobody seems to really care, that we have this senile old man who was too far gone to run, to even campaign for the presidency. He had to drop out of the race, but we're going to allow him to authorize this. And Donald Trump's the one that we should be afraid of. The guy that's like, I'm going to end this immediately as soon as I get into office, versus this guy who's like, oh yeah, go ahead and go fire some rockets over there. See what happens. This is fucking crazy, man. Absolutely insane that this can happen. And there's just no mechanism for us to stop it. He's the commander in chief. He can do it. Like this crazy old man can do whatever the hell he wants. You got to roll. All right.
I'll be right back. Just got to answer.
Yeah, that's his internet guy who's, they give you that window. We were talking before the show. He might have to run out real quick. They give you the window. I'll be there between 12 and 5 or something like that. And so we scheduled the show for like the first hour of the window because that was the only time that he could do it. And of course, instead of the other 99% of the time when they show up 10 minutes before the window closes, this guy shows up 20 minutes into it or something like that. That's just absolutely classic. Absolutely fucking classic. But this is what's going on in Ukraine is, oh God, it's just so fucking scary and infuriating and just like quintessential US foreign policy, where these guys like Joe Biden, what does Joe Biden have to lose here? I mean, he doesn't, if he knows what day of the week it is, he doesn't have a lot of time left. I don't think he gives a rip about his family. There's certainly not a lot of great character in there for him to care about. What he's got the entire backing of the establishment. The corporate press will still hail him as being presidential and doing this great noble thing, you know, the fight for democracy and all this crap. This is if and when Ukraine officially loses this war, that this fight for democracy narrative should really go into the dustbin of history, because that's not what this was ever about, ever. And the victors are supposed to be able to write the history here.
Well, did you see after Trump's election was announced, Zelensky was like, "Yeah, we're ready to start doing peace talks now."
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the peace talks? Why are, if a week ago they were ready to start peace talks, why are we now firing missiles into Russia? Like, so much for peace talks.
Yeah, I guess maybe you could try to make the argument this will give them some leverage in the peace talks. Be like, okay, yeah, we can stop shooting these missiles at you if, you know, you give us this or we get to keep that. Okay, but I mean, the risk to reward there is not a good one.
It's like, yeah, or we could just drop a nuke on you between now and January 20th and fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's very high risk, very, very, very low reward, if any. And it's ridiculous that that a crazy old man is in power to do this. He's still in power, even though the entire fucking world knows that he's incapable of putting together a coherent thought or a sentence. This is like, you know, when your grandpa or whatever just goes completely crazy, and the kids just start like stealing everything, you know, getting him to like change his will and like sign his fucking entire estate over. He has no idea what's going on. Like, you can get Joe Biden to sign anything. He has no fucking clue what's happening. And it's a lame duck session on top of that. Like, Donald Trump he won a fucking landslide. He won the Electoral College. He won the popular vote. He has the House. He has the Senate. He has the Supreme Court. The people overwhelmingly voted for him and his foreign policy initiative. And he's talking about ending this war, stopping the dying. And right before he gets into office, you're going to fucking escalate this thing. It's insane that they can fucking do that.
Well, I mean, the Pentagon failed its 7th audit in a row. Can't fully account for $824 billion. So probably, like, let's blow some of that money up in Ukraine. Let's instigate Russia to ramp up their attacks in Ukraine, and then they can destroy all the shit that a lot of this money went to that we can't account for.
Yeah, dude, again, yeah, the fucking Pentagon, man. So I guess that's an improvement. The last audit I remember them failing was like 1.2 trillion. So there you go. hey, it's 350 billion better. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You know, baby steps towards improvement. What is the point of these audits? This is
Pentagon officials claim the Department of Defense has turned a corner and is making progress towards a clean audit in the next few years.
Next few years. So yeah, I mean, if we're finding an extra 350, 400 billion a year. Yeah. By the end of Trump's presidency, they might be able to account for every dollar that they've spent of their $1 trillion budget. Jesus Christ, dude. What this is like, it's just so ridiculous, man. They go through these audits like they mean something. And it's so typical of government where they're just like, oh no, everything's on the level. Like, we're going to be really good stewards of your money and everything. See, look, we're auditing them. Oh, okay. Well, they failed 7 in a row. There's trillions of dollars unaccounted for, and there's no repercussions for it. Did their budget get cut last year? No. Did it get cut the time before that when they got? No. Did it go up by probably 10% or something? Yes. Goes up every year. They get more and more money, more and more resources, and they keep failing these audits. So what's the point? This is just, it's all a fucking show. It's all a charade to give you the illusion that they care about anything. And yeah, of course, dude, there's trillions of dollars that are just missing. And I'm sure they actually know where it is. I bet you there's probably only maybe 100 billion of that 800 that they actually can account for. The rest of it, they just don't want to tell us what they've been fucking doing with it.
Where is I'm trying to find it. Speaking of departments that failed audits, the Department of Education failed a big audit as well. I'm trying to find that. Oh, damn it. I had it earlier and then I lost it.
Nobody at the Department of Education knows how to accounting for money. Isn't that beautiful? That's just like the Department of Education has like a worthless accounting department.
Well, right? Like these are the people that are supposed to be teaching like math and arithmetic and stuff, and they can't even like take care of their money. Like what? Yeah. But to be fair, they probably put like the gender equality studies professors in charge of the budget just to be for DEI purposes, so for inclusivity. Then instead, because that's kind of the way education works, is we don't go based on merit and who actually knows what. We go based on who can say remember the debate not long ago? There was like high school debates, and this kid gets up there and just says, "I'm trans," and that's it. Like that's the entire debate, and so then it's team won because the other team got up there and it was like a smart looking boy, and he was like, "How the fuck am I supposed to debate that?" And like that's not a debate. Like that's not an argument. And so the other team won. The team with the tranny won. It's like that's how education works these days. So I'm sure whoever was in charge of the accounting for the Department of Education, they were probably a diversity hire.
Yeah. Well, you can't argue against the trans because that would make you a transphobic. You're anti-trans if you disagree with them on anything. It's the great dude. One of the best clips of Family Guy is when the tranny's sitting at the bar, like watching porn on his phone with the volume up. The bartender's like, "Sir, you can't watch porn at the bar." And he's like, "Oh, I'm trans." It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. In that case, do whatever you want all the time." Oh shit, dude. Oh my god, dude. The fact that they can't. I mean, the double standard. If you were to fail an audit. Like if you were running a private company and you failed 7 audits in a row, the amount of even if they allowed you to stay in business, the amount of fines and things that you would have to go through would be so problematic. There's nothing like, does anybody lose their job? Could you imagine if you were the head of the accounting department and you're just like, I can't figure out where 800 billion is? What? How could you not know that? How could you fail that like that? How could you fail that miserably?
Here we go. The Department of Education has failed 3 in a row. This wasn't a one-off.
Well, I bet you how many did they fail before the last time they got it right? So they'll fail 3 in a row. They'll get 1 okay, and then they'll 3 more, 1 okay, 4 more, 1 okay. So that the streak never gets too ridiculous. The streak of fucking losses. Dude, if you fail this would be a great thing for Dote. Did you fail your last audit? Okay, you're done. How many audits have you failed in a row? 3 strikes and you're out. I'm fine with starting there. And then you fail every time you fail an audit, your budget gets cut by the amount of money that you can account for. How about that? Like, yeah, 3-peat for the Department of Education. Yeah, are there any departments that actually pass their audits?
I don't know. I'm not sure if any actually do. We definitely know that I don't know if USPS gets audited or not, since they're not technically a government agency, but if they did, they would be failing even worse than most of the others.
Yeah. Yeah, they've already, yeah. Okay. USPS incurs a $9.5 billion loss despite raising stamp prices yet again. So,
and the crazy thing is, we have fucking FedEx, DHS, UPS. Like, how many delivery services do we have that actually make money and are giving their employees raises and stuff?
Yeah.
And like, make money hand over fist. Whereas the USPS, that does literally the same thing as UPS, FedEx, all of these others, they lose billions on top of billions every single year. The only thing keeping the U.S. Postal Service afloat is U.S. tax dollars. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's, it's such an antiquated thing. Like, we don't need this anymore. We haven't needed it for at least like 30 years. I remember them making fun of it on Seinfeld when Kramer wants to cancel his mail. He's like, I got fax, email, telephone. Like, we don't need any of this shit. They're clinging to this relic. And the only reason, you don't get the daily mail delivered by UPS or FedEx or something is because they made it illegal for them to do that. And they're losing tens of billions of dollars every year. They keep raising their prices, but they remember, in true retarded government fashion, they sold these forever stamps years ago, 10, 15 years ago. They sold these stamps for like a slightly higher price, but like, you could use them forever. And it was like sort of like a stopgap measure to put a dent into whatever they were going to lose that year. So it made their budget look better that year. But now people have all these forever stamps that probably cost a fraction. They can keep raising things. Like, how many stamps do you go through in a year? When's the last time you mailed anything? Like, nobody uses the fucking mail anymore.
I thought I still had some stamps, and I do not. I'd never had a whole lot to begin with. I had something that I needed to mail, and I couldn't find any stamps. And I was like, okay, I could go to town, or I could just like drop this off at the guy's house on my way to work. I'm like, I'm just gonna do that. Like,
yeah. So like, okay. First class mail forever stamp costs 73 cents.
Golly, I remember when last time I bought stamps, they were like 48 cents, 49 cents, something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's people that probably locked in a bunch of forever stamps when they cost that. And so they can keep raising the prices all they want, but they still have to deliver mail if you have a forever stamp from 15 years ago. It's forever. So yeah, postcard 56 cents, a global forever stamp $1.65. USPS also offers discounted rates for online purchases through stamps.com. Yeah, I mean, dude, just get rid of it. Another thing for Doge to work on. Let's get rid of like this. Why are we doing this? We don't have the money. And I'm sure, dude, imagine the pensions that all these postal workers have. We just don't need it anymore. We don't, like, it's the way they're delivering mail is not that much different than when they originally created the post office. The only thing that's changed is they've gone from horses to cars. Like, they're still doing, like, come on, man. It's 2025. Let's go here. Let's figure something else out.
I can't think of the last time that FedEx or UPS lost a package of mine, but it happens all the time with USPS, and they don't even know where it goes. They have no idea where it is. Like, I mean, I've talked about my ballot. Like, I put in for an absentee ballot and never got it. I called the courthouse, and they're like, yeah, we sent it. We sent it the same day we sent your wife's. I was like, well, she got hers and I never got mine. So they're like, well, check with the post office. Maybe they've got it there. So I checked with the post office. They're like, yeah, the last thing we have on it is went to Louisville, and we don't know where it is now. Like, the fuck do you mean you don't know where it is? Like, that was a week ago. My wife got hers a week ago. How do you not know where mine went? Like, it went to Louisville, and now we don't know where it is. Like, the fuck do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, in their defense, it's got to be hard to keep track of all these just pieces of paper. But like, yeah, there's got to be a better way of doing it. There's got to be a more efficient way of doing it. The only thing I know for sure is that the government's never going to come up with USPS or the Chicago Bears of Parallel Service. I didn't watch the fucking game yesterday or on Sunday. I heard they managed to lose again.
It's for the best that you didn't watch it. As a Packers fan, I had a buddy that was like, "Are we seriously gonna lose to the Bears?" I was like, "Dude, have faith." He's like, "It's faith hard to have." I said, "Not have faith in the Packers, have faith in the Bears to fuck this up." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't think about it that way." I was like, "See, that's
yeah." It was a blocked field goal. I was told.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. The fucking Bears, dude. I should just be betting. It's like the only team that I have a good feel for.
In your defense, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze are probably going to be really good. Like, they both have good chemistry. Caleb Williams actually looks like he's probably going to be good for as gay as he might be. There is a lot of promise there. So, like,
the only thing I've noticed is that like he's not as accurate as I would like a quarterback to be. He misses some like wide open, easy throws that.
Well, he's a rookie. Like, that's you.
There's that. Plus, his offensive line is just terrible. I've never seen a quarterback running for his life more often than him. It's like when you used to play smear the queer as a kid. Might as well not have an offensive line.
I mean, that's what football is, like, effectively anyway.
Oh shit. Anyway, what were we talking? Oh yeah, USPS. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, this was years ago when I was ordering shelves and on Amazon, and they kept delivering them through USPS, and they kept getting lost. They lost like 3 fucking shelves, and so they kept telling me to reorder them, like cancel it and reorder it. I did that like 3 times, and 6 months later, the shelves show up. I had fucking like three of the same shelves. And I had to just sitting around. Eventually, I think I gave them away or something when I sold the place. But yeah, they do a fucking terrible job, just like every government agency. They've been losing money for as long as I can remember, and we just don't have the money anymore to just keep propping up worthless, useless departments. And people, dude, the pensions on there, I bet they're pretty fucking fat, dude.
I'm sure that's why they keep turning over like multi-billion-dollar losses every year, is because of the pensions.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that's 100% of it. I mean, that's whenever you get to digging into like education funding and stuff like that, and you look at the pensions that these teachers unions are paying out every year, like that's it. That's where they're losing money. Like, I don't. Yeah, and it's like there's no accountability for it. Like, you knew that you were going to be paying out these pensions. Why weren't you like collecting dues and funding this all along the way? Like, how is it that the pension is what's causing you to be broke? I mean, it's because it's all a Ponzi scheme. It's all like Social Security. Like, the money's made up. They have you pay into all of this so that they can fund the pension, so they can fund Social Security. But I mean, that money's just sitting there in the meantime. So obviously we're not going to let money sit there. So they spend the money, and then they don't have the money when it comes time to start paying it out. So now they're racking up billions upon billions of dollars in debt because they already spent it all. I mean, it's typical government bullshit, but
right. Well, and that's sort of like the moral hazard that the money printing creates. It's like, well, if you know that you can just issue debt and get the money whenever you need it, then you're never going to take the money, the cash that you have on hand, and maybe invest it in something that's going to appreciate. You're going to spend it immediately, just like they did with they raid Social Security every year. As soon as the money comes in, it goes out on various bullshit. And they're just like, yeah, we'll just issue a fucking treasury bill when we have to pay out Social Security. And it's like, dude, if you could just invest that money, you get a much better return. And then, you get 9-10% a year, 12% over if you're just buying an index fund or something like that. The returns that you could get on that money, instead of spending it immediately and depending on debt in the future, it's, God, what a bad fucking system. What a bad fucking system. And they're attacking Donald Trump for claiming he's going to take away your Social Security. I've never even heard him say that, but somebody's going to take it away. It's not going to be here forever. It is a Ponzi scheme. And there's just because the government mandates a Ponzi scheme doesn't mean they can make it work. It's going to, it's already failed.
I just want the option to opt out. Like, more of the tax dollars that are taking out of every check of mine go towards Social Security than anything else. Like, money that I'll never see. I'll never retire. And if I do retire, I'm not getting shit for anything out of that. Like, we're already bankrupt. Like, I just want to opt out. Like, give me that. Shit, what was it last year? I think I paid into Social Security alone $12,000 for the year. Like, can I just
Yeah.
keep that? Like, imagine what I could do funding my own fucking retirement with $12,000 a year.
Dude, even if they let you opt out for 1 year, and you took the 12,000 and you put it into a dividend paying fund that gets you like a 7% dividend annually, you put the drip on so it reinvests the dividends into the fund. That shit compounding over the next 30 years is going to make you more than you will ever see in Social Security. We could pull up a calculator right now. You'd be astonished. The return on, like, people think Social Security is such a great deal. It's a shit deal. It's shit, dude. Your return, the last time I saw anybody run the numbers on these, it was like 2.5% on Social Security, assuming you live long enough to collect it. You have to live to like 75 to get that kind of a return, and you have to retire at 60. Like, it's such a bad fucking system. And like, if you were just caught in like a private sector Ponzi scheme, you could get out. You could opt out of it. Like, maybe you get out of the Bernie Madoff scheme before it collapses and you get your returns. But if not, like, you don't have to pay into it in perpetuity after you figure out it's a Ponzi scheme. Like, this is just the worst idea ever. And it's such a bad return on investment. If you were to even, a couple $1,000s a year, if you just put it into an index fund or something and you just let it sit, if they give you, put it into an IRA or a Roth IRA or something and just let it ride, the chances are you're going to get a much better return on that than anything they're promising you from Social Security. And even if you didn't do that, like, let's just say you just let the cash accumulate, you could do something with that. You could start a business with that. Like, there's opportunity costs at $12,000 a year now versus you're going to get like a couple grand a month at 65. What's that going to get you by the time? I can't even imagine what prices are going to be like, assuming we're still on $1. I don't even know if the dollar is going to last that long. And then what happens? The whole thing is a fucking mess. And they've spent all that money immediately. They put these treasury bills into the Social Security Trust Fund. So it's basically an IOU that they're claiming is a liability for the government, but the government is also on the hook for it. So it's an asset and a liability at the same time. More accounting fucking bullshit that would get you thrown in prison if you were to try to do that. God, yeah, they should get rid of it. At a minimum, like, they should just come up with an age, if you're under the age of 45, you don't have to pay into it anymore.
That's a really fun one. Like, try cooking your own book. Like, try owning your own business and cooking your books the way the government cooks their books. And then when they go to throw you in jail for it, be like, but I just used the same accounting plan that y'all used for the way y'all do stuff.
Right. I just did exactly what you're doing with Social Security. Just like, oh shit, dude. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It'd be like if you wrote yourself a check for $1 million and then claimed you were a millionaire. It's like, well, yeah. If the check would clear, yes, but you're the one that has to fucking clear it. Oh man, we're in so much trouble, dude. So much trouble, and nobody's willing to cut anything. Oh God. Yep. What are you gonna do? Just watch the ship go down, I guess. But yeah, if you're our age or younger, I would not be depending on Social Security. Write it off. If you get anything, it will be the nominal dollar amount that they've promised you. And they're probably going to have to increase the contributions, the percentage, which is like, what is it? Is it 12.5% now or something? It's substantial.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Which, Jesus, dude. Yeah. I mean, God, what a bad system. And young people are going to get so fucked.
I think the leftists might have actually come up with a decent solution to the Social Security thing. Just don't live that long. Just drink seed oil straight out of the bottle and don't even bother.
Cheers.
Oh.
Delicious. Don't be a pussy.
I love how it says heart healthy on the bottle.
Apparently they're stockpiling fluoride and seed oils in preparation for RFK Jr. being named the head of the Department of Health and Human Services.
The amount of damage they'll do to themselves, like out of spite, is absolutely hilarious to me. Why, dude? So those seed oils, they're basically like they're a byproduct of all this shit that we do, making oil, like refining oil. Have I got this correct? And so they have all this sludge left over, and they don't want to waste it. So they've come up with ways of using it.
It's not nearly that bad, but
well, canola oil, I think, is that bad.
Canola oil is very bad, yes. Soybean oil, the corn-based oil, and rapeseed is another one. Well, I guess canola and rapeseed are the same thing, but they're a little bit different. Canola is the hardier northern variety, and the rapeseed is a more warm weather variety. It's not as bad as the just straight canola, but it's also, I mean, it's still not great. The soybean oil and the corn-based oils aren't as bad. The thing I've always had a problem with, and I've talked about this when we've talked about like ethanol and stuff, is the better use for these seed oils is actually for making biofuels, for especially like soybean-based biodiesel is effectively the exact same as petroleum-based diesel. Like, no, you don't have a loss of power. It's almost one for one. And instead they push the corn-based ethanol, which is the least efficient way to make ethanol on the fucking planet. I've done entire episodes talking about seed oils and biofuels and stuff like that. Like, it's insane. We should be using beef tallow and like animal fats for cooking, and take the seed oils and use them for biofuels and
machinery.
Stuff that they're like actually better suited for.
That's what's just so mind-boggling. Like, you could eat this, or we could power a car with it. It's like, all right, I don't think I want to eat that then. Like, whatever you're doing to it, I'm good. I'm gonna use duck fat, beef fat, olive oil, coconut oil, like something like just naturally occurring that doesn't have to go through all kinds of processes. I don't understand how you could be against that. That's drinking seed oils. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna kill themselves off. And I don't know if I'm gonna miss them. Drinking oil, like, even if that was just olive, like drinking a cup of that can't be good. Like, You're gonna drink a cup of that. You're gonna just start putting fluoride into your own water and drinking it. It's good for your teeth, apparently, but you're drinking it for some reason. Okay. You'll have to try to walk me through how that works.
If they keep drinking seed oils straight out of the bottle like that, they're going to end up
very still. I'm working right now. This. Ouch! Oh, I'm sorry. Did my pen get in the way of your ass? Do me a favor and lose 5 pounds immediately, or get out of my building like now!
Oh boy.
No water at all. Okay. All right. And then what are you drinking during the day?
Sodies.
Sodies.
Sody pops.
Okay. And how much do you drink a day?
8 to 12 a day.
8 to 12 cans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's regular soda?
No, it's that.
It's diet. Okay.
Our mom told us when we were younger, if we ate a sugar, you drink a Diet Coke afterwards and it'll cancel out the sugar.
Okay. Do you believe it to be true?
Yeah. I did when I was a kid.
Sure. Okay.
Dude, have we not made? I feel like we've made fun of these two girls before. Dude, remember
what was it Donald Trump said? I've never seen a skinny person drinking Diet Coke.
Yeah, there you go. You could not fit either one of those women in the frame of your camera phone. I don't even think if you did the wide lens thing. They're enormous. They're so fat that you can't even see their eyes. Like they have eye fat, like eyelid fat. It's 8 to 12. So they're drinking a case of Diet Coke a day. That is, oh God, dude, that's just disgusting. And these are the people, like people are freaking out that they want to get rid of the the high fructose corn syrup and all the other poisons in the foods that these people are downing because they don't like RFK's stance on vaccines, which has been completely misrepresented, by the way. Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Just let them die off. Is it like then at least we'll get rid of like 20% of the retardation in the United States. The healthcare costs that what were those women? They 400 pounds.
Oh, probably more than that. I'm sure they were from My 600-Pound Life or something like that.
Jesus Christ, dude!
You ever watched any of that shit? Like
no.
Or the what is it? The 1,000-pound twins or something? There's a bunch of shows about these like ridiculously fat fucks.
My mom told me if you have any sugar, drink a Diet Coke to cancel it out. Oh my God. And yeah, all the stuff, the aspartame that's in the Diet Coke and all the other shit that's in there. Dude, just I don't know. I can't, of all the things to be against removing the weird processed like and chemicals and stuff that's in all of our food. I just don't understand it. Even if you disagree with him on a completely unrelated thing, who cares? Like he's going to take out, like Mexico uses cane sugar in their Coke. And that's like a big thing when people come to Mexico. They're like, oh, the Coke is so much better because it's like the real Coke. They don't use the high fructose corn syrup. And it's like, yeah, wouldn't you want to go back to that? Like, yeah, I'm sure it's going to make the food cost more than, if you remove all these cheap fucking things, these additives that they put in there, and everybody has to basically buy like organic food from now on. Yeah, like the price of food's going to go up. But I don't know, what are their healthcare costs? Like, what are those fat chicks spending on healthcare every year? Or if not yet, they will be. They're saving like $1.25 per sody pop, but they're gonna get hit with a fucking $2.5 million hospital bill when their fucking heart fails at age 46.
Well, and as soon as Trump gets rid of Obamacare, then fat fucks like that won't have health care anymore because of pre-existing conditions, and then they actually do have to pay for it out of pocket. So either they're going to figure out how they're going to pay for all their health care out of pocket, or they're just going to die, and then we get more healthy by subtraction. Addition by subtraction. That's my favorite kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing is there's all these tariffs on sugar and stuff like that makes the price artificially high. The government's done a tremendous job of just ruining everything. They've ruined the food. They've ruined the water. They've ruined education. They've ruined the economy. I can't imagine looking around at how bad of a job they've done on everything that they've decided to get involved in and being like, yeah, no, we just need to vote the right people in there. They're going to fix it. That'll fix it. Kamala Harris would have done a much better job. Even Donald Trump, I've been saying, like, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence that he can fix any of this. He could eliminate some of the rot, but the damage has been done. The damage has been done on a number of levels. And
that's something I've talked about for a while is like, this shit's about to really hit the fan. And like, I think my biggest fear is that Trump will actually, Trump either has to be completely successful and like fix it, or a complete failure and let it all completely blow up. Like if he has just an average level of success and just kicks the can down the road for another 10 years, that's the worst fucking thing that could possibly happen. Like you've either got to gut the whole fucking thing, clean out all the cancer and fix it, or just let it fucking die. Like those are the only two options that work. It just like, throwing a Band-Aid on the broken leg and being able to limp along for another 10 years, that's the worst possible outcome that we could have out of, what's coming next.
Yeah. Yeah. And the message has to be clear. It's not just going to be this painless, oh, you voted for me and now everything's going to be great again. No, dude, there's going to be a day of reckoning regardless. And if he actually does start going Javier Milei on shit, it's like, yeah, there will be a severe recession. There has to be a rebalancing of things. You have to clear out all of this crap that's in the economy, all of the malinvestments and everything. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of pain involved. It's not going to be a painless thing. I mean, we look at the position we put ourselves in. You can't just walk away from unscathed. Like you can't rack up 36 trillion in debt and just being like, oh, no, everything's going to be fine. We're just going to, make everything great somehow because I'm Donald Trump. No, dude. Be like, yo, this is the medicine that we need to fix things. It's going to suck for a while, just like any time. We need to go into fucking rehab cold turkey. You can't, like you were saying, you don't want to wean us off of this on methadone. We don't want monetary methadone. We want fucking cold turkey, 60 days in fucking rehab, cut out the fucking rot, remove the cancer, and then the rehab process. It's like you've been in a bed for months on end, then you have to like learn how to walk again, essentially. This is going to be a painful process, but the idea is to come out of it with a foundation that has potential to survive. Otherwise, we're killing ourselves slowly, and it's slower until it isn't, and then it's all at once. The patient dies. So yeah, he needs to really level with the American people and be like, yo, this is the solution, and this is what you guys want the solution, but don't make no mistake about it. This is not going to be easy. There will be pain involved, particularly for the millions of people that work for the fucking government. They're leeches. They've been living above their means and off the backs of the American people for decades. They should have to take some fucking pain.
Speaking of taking some pain, two of Trump's biggest, I don't know, would you call them his biggest objectors, his biggest I don't know if mortal enemies is the right word. Joe Scarborough probably thinks of himself as Trump's mortal enemy. I'm sure Trump doesn't think of him at all. But so Joe and Mika traveled to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the Don to restart communications. Is this a signaling defeat? But yeah. Morning Joe and what's her last name? Mika
Brzezinski.
Brzezinski. They have both been extremely critical of Donald Trump for.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I don't know if we have a compilation of them from like 2 weeks ago when they were calling, he's going to kill us. We played that on one episode. Mika was going crazy. Her eyes look particularly fucking nuts in this video. But yeah, white supremacist, literally Hitler, end of democracy, end of the country if he gets into power. He's killing us. All that good stuff. And fast forward a couple of weeks, here we are.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
And just like that, they become Nazi sympathizers.
Yeah.
What a difference a couple of weeks makes.
Exactly. They become Nazi sympathizers. This is from the Huffington Post. Sit down with Trump backfires spectacularly on Morning Joe hosts. Let's see. We've got somebody says, I don't know what's worse, being gaslit by these two or feeling sorry for the true journalists on their show to witness this craven display of fealty to Mr. Hitler. Sure, have a good talk and say goodbye to your same viewers who are not putting up with this shit. What a huge mistake. The problem has always been that Trump has been normalized. Why continue? We're falling back into the trap. Bowing in advance, cowards. This is why people don't trust the mainstream media anymore. Joe and Mika, who constantly attack fascist Trump on their show, went to Mar-a-Lago to talk with Trump over the weekend. Keith Olbermann Keith Olbermann having a normal one. Here's a Photoshop picture of Trump with Joe Scarborough. It's amazing. It's just amazing the way that they just full on meltdown because these two had the audacity to call Trump out on their show, and then Trump invites them to Mar-a-Lago and to actually go and have a conversation with him. Like, how fucking dare you?
Yeah. Well, it is pretty funny though that they can go from calling him like the worst human being on the face of the earth, he's going to ruin the world, to being like, well, you know, we need to talk with him now. It's a great capitulation, but it just goes to show you they're either completely full of shit all the time, or they have no fucking principles whatsoever. They'll go talk to literally Hitler if it's going to help their ratings, because they're seeing the writing on the wall. Their show, I think Tim Pool or something tweeted out there was only like 28,000 views on that one, on the rerun of it. I don't know what it was when it was live, but like that's for a professional cable news show. That's pathetic, dude. So their ratings are in the shitter, and so they're willing to just toss out their principles and go meet with literally Hitler to try to revive it. It's an astonishing capitulation. I can see why their base is not thrilled with this, and it's just hilarious to what, like, yeah, no, they didn't believe a word that they were saying leading up to this, or they just have no principles whatsoever, and they'll go meet with literally Hitler just to get ratings,
they're terrified of Brendan Carr, the Trump's pick for the FC for leading the FCC. Like, they're worried that, and I believe Carr wrote part of Project 2025 as well. So that's another thing that they're like talking about and scared of. But they're worried that Carr is going to follow through on what Trump has talked about, of saying, you know, that like these licenses that these news agencies get are just given to them by the government. Like, we're gonna start holding them accountable for it. Like, if you want to have this license, you got to actually earn this license. You're gonna be fact checked, and you're gonna be looked at for bias and everything else. And either you're gonna report the news as it is, or you're gonna lose your license. And they're terrified that like their days are numbered and they're about to get pulled off the air.
Yeah. Yep. And then those cushy fucking, dude, the amount of money that these hacks make it's mind-boggling. Even like I don't know what they're making on that show, but like, you know, some of these people you'd almost never even heard of are making like $5 million a year to just go say nothing on cable news for a couple hours a day, and then just, you know, take clips out of context and make people look terrible. It's wild how much these guys make.
Well, and these two finally got to be on the receiving end of the liberal psychosis. They
fostered it.
Yeah, they did the show and talked about going and talking to Trump, and then there's all the backlash, and so then they come out on their show the following day and follow up and talk about like being attacked by people, more or less attacked by people.
I just want to say thank you, first of all, everybody who was so kind last night, but also thank you. Willie, yesterday I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world, because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day, literally around the world. Very positive, very supportive, going, understand what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once in a while I would get a text or a call from someone and go, oh man, I hope you're doing okay. And I call him back and I go, well, Eddie Glaude was one of them. I go, Eddie, are you on Twitter? And he goes, I am. I go, okay, well, I'm not. So we've had a good day. Mika just had a wonderful event, and it's fantastic. We're going to do all of us are going to do the best we can do, and we're all working towards a better America.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. And again, you can predict the future by shaping the future.
$8 million a year is what he gets.
The social media disconnect for the left is really like, it's like the meme stream from the Facebook group last week, like the Terminator. It's leftist fears, and like, yeah, it's reality. Not real. And yeah, in reality, it's like, it's not real, but the things that they manifest in their mind that are happening, and then they just like run rampant with it on social media, and they live in such an echo chamber, such a bubble, that they don't listen to anybody that tells them otherwise. Like, I don't know about you. I read I read articles from the left, from the right, and from the middle every day. If I find something, I go and find something that says the opposite. I go and find something, and then I try to find like actual stuff that has real information. Like get a little bit of everything. They don't do that. They like we talked about, the DNC had so much higher ratings when the convention was aired than what the RNC did, because Democrats will not watch the RNC, whereas Republicans will watch the DNC. Like, you want to see what these people are saying. They just think that everything the Republicans say is fascist, white supremacist, racist, bigoted, all this stuff, and so you just completely tune it out. So they never hear anything except for their own psychosis being echoed over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah, they won't watch it, but they will turn on Morning Joe the next day to get the scoop on what happened. And Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski go fucking crazy with all these ridiculous lies. They created these maniacs with all their fear mongering. They created them, and now the thing's been turned against them because they went and talked to Donald Trump. It's beautiful. It's beautiful getting their fucking, like, you created these fucking monsters with all of your ridiculous statement. Oh, he's gonna put us in camps. He's gonna fucking, nuclear war, end of democracy. It's, yeah, okay. So you freaked these people out for the last 8 years, and now you're going to, shake hands and have a conversation with the guy that you told your tens of thousands of viewers now that he was going to destroy the world many times over. So yeah, they're freaking out on you. 8 million a year Joe Scarborough gets. Must be nice.
A lot of money. Nice. That's a lot of money to suck that bad.
Yeah.
That's
it really is.
Almost as much as what the Cowboys are paying Dak Prescott.
What's he getting?
I think it's like 20 million. Where's Jim? He's got all the NFL salary.
You better be making more than that. Cowboys aren't doing. No, I haven't actually seen any of their games. Oh, all right. What else? We got anything else today?
That pretty well takes us through everything I had pulled up. The only other thing newsworthy that I saw was Trump's hush money sentencing has been adjourned, according to the court. Now, some people have pointed out adjourned does not mean dismissed, but this is one of the things that the legal experts with NBC were talking about. Like, basically, as soon as Trump was declared the winner on election night, the legal analysts and experts started coming in and saying, all right, so what does that mean for all of Trump's court cases? And effectively what they boiled it down to was all of these court cases are now just going to go away. Some of them might hang in limbo for the next 4 years until he's out of office, but by and large, they're all just going to disappear. This is one of the first dominoes falling in. All of these court cases are just going to go away.
Yeah. And again, it just goes to show you that all of these cases were brought for one fucking reason: to try to keep Donald Trump out of office. Now that he's in, or that he will be in, that there's no will to pursue them. They're all like ridiculous charges to begin with, and now it's like there's no, what's the upside here? There's nothing you can really do to him once he's president.
Well, like this is the Trump's a 34-time felon case.
This is the one, yeah.
If they're not going to actually sentence, they're not going to actually like take it forward, then he's not really a felon.
That'd be great. Yeah. So that's every time they call him a felon, you can get the community notes on there. Actually, the case was adjourned. He was never sentenced. Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, this is just a blatant admission that they were going after him to try to keep him out of office, even though, I mean, it was obvious from the start. And we've been pointing that out relentlessly, that these cases were all designed to do one thing, and they failed. One of the reasons why this is such a big victory for Donald Trump. I mean, they were going after his businesses, him, his family, like everybody. And now it's all gone. It will all be over soon. And yeah, even if they hung in limbo until after he gets out of office, like I don't even think anything would happen then. He'd be like 82 or something, and no chance of running again. I mean, they might, because I mean, he's got a bunch of kids that could run for president, I suppose, carry on the legacy. But I think by the time he's out of there, he will have cleaned this up on his end to the point where there's nobody in there that's going to pursue any of this stuff. Yeah. Well, we'll see if there's any retribution there, if he's going to go after any of these people that tried to pull all these fucking lawfare stunts. That'll be interesting. Be fun to see some heads roll on that front. Figuratively, of course.
I just don't see it happening. I wish he would, but I don't think that's really his MO on a lot of this stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he didn't do it the first time around when he said he was going, when there was all the talk about, locking up Hillary Clinton and things like that. It's just, I understand from his perspective where it's just like, yeah, dude, it's not really worth it. Let's just, I won. Let's move on. Let's clean up the apparatus so that this doesn't happen again. But I don't need to go after like fucking Fannie Willis or something. But yeah, it'd be nice to see. These people are fucking despicable. I wouldn't mind seeing it. All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's it. We can get out of here on that. You got anything going on this week?
I have actually picked up doing daily shorts. I try to keep it in the less than 10-minute range, cover a specific topic on a article. I talked about Matt Gaetz and the allegations about him that have been flying around from a case that was dismissed over a year ago that had been investigated for 3 years and turned up nothing. But now that he's been tabbed for Attorney General, now all of the news agencies are talking about it again, even though it was literally dismissed over a year ago. So I talked about that yesterday. I talked about Pete Hegseth being a white supremacist today and the insanity of the shit that's going around about that. And then tomorrow I'm going to be talking about RFK Jr. and his lack of qualifications. And we're going to take a look at the current director of Health and Human Services and see what his actual qualifications are. So I've been doing daily short stuff because there's so much bullshit out there, and the average person doesn't read past the headline and maybe the tag, and there's so much information that they tell you the truth after they lie to you with the headline, but the only thing most people see is the headline. So I want to tackle some of this stuff here as it's coming out. So I'm back to doing like daily stuff. At least for the next month or so, while a lot of this just blatant misinformation is being put out about stuff. Yeah.
No, I think there'll be plenty of material going forward on a daily basis. Now that, the TDS is kicked into full gear. Every single one of these appointments, they're going to have the exact same arguments for. It's going to be Russian asset, rapist, white supremacist.
Well, and either Thursday or Friday, I'll do Tulsi Gabbard as the Russian asset. That's another one of them that's been getting rolled out there.
Nice. All right. Right on. Well, check all that out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Our handles are right there. And you do all that for us. We'll be back on Friday with a brand new episode, and we'll do a happy hour, Friday night happy hour.
Sounds good.
And until then, you guys know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.